Good morning, everybody. We're live from the birdhouse, and it is Saturday, November 26th, the last Saturday of November, if you can believe it. Today, we're giving you an update about the birds that you guys are seeing. We're sharing some of your photos, and we'll give you an update about some of those rare winter birds that are coming into the area and where you can go to see them, which will hopefully be helpful for you guys. As always, if you have questions, you can throw those in the comments, or you can post any kind of sightings you're seeing, or just say hi. And also today at the birdhouse, if you do stop by, it is our open house weekend. So we have some specials going on. We have some cider, some birds and beans coffee. We've got cheese and crackers and brownies and all kinds of fun stuff like that out. And we're having our puzzle swap this morning, and that goes from 10 o'clock until noon. So if you've got some jigsaw puzzles you're not sure what you want to do with, bring them in. You can swap them out for some new to you puzzles. So that has been increasingly popular. Every month we've been doing this. So feel free to stop in anytime between 10 and noon for that. But we will get started here. The first thing I'll do is give you guys an update about some of those what are considered winter finches that are coming into the area that people have been reported. The first being the evening grosbeak, and this is the male, and it's bright plumage, but right now the ones that are being seen look more like this in their immature or the female plumage. And those are being seen out in Webster. I'll show you a map where you can go to see those in Webster Park by the campground area. These evening grosbeaks have been spotted with some regularity, and they're still being seen. So this is one rare bird that is still coming in to the area, that's still been hanging around, as well as the pine grosbeak. And this is the male pine grosbeak, but the individuals that have been seen look more like this one here, and they've been eating lots and lots of berries. And the best place to go to see them is out in Webster. And I pulled this map here. This is from eBird. And what's great about eBird is if you click explore on eBird and type in the bird you're looking to see, if you go to the maps, it'll show you where they've been spotted and when. And that is what I pulled up here. So this is a map showing the pine grosbeak sightings recently. And they're over here in Webster Park, right around Park Road and by the camp playground area. So not only has the pine grosbeak been seen here, but the evening grosbeak has been seen there, and that Bohemian Waxwing. So this is a really good spot to go. I know I'm going to be heading out there tomorrow to see if I can catch a glimpse of these guys, but this is your best bet. The evening grosbeaks have been seen kind of like sprinkled around a little bit more, but if you're looking for that pine grosbeak and the Bohemian Waxwing, this is the place to go. And you can pull these up just by going to ebird.org. You can always pull up these maps on any species that you would like. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of data on there, and you can contribute as well by making your own checklists and submitting them when you're out birding. So really, really cool stuff, where these little red dots are with the little flame, that is saying that they have been spotted in these spots and recently. So if it's kind of from the past, more of historical sightings, they're going to be marked in blue. So the red markings, that's a good way for you to know that it has been seen recently in that area. So this again is where the pine grosbeak has been seen. This is the map of the pine grosbeak that I pulled up. You can see the name in the top left corner here, and also that evening grosbeak and the Bohemian Waxwing. So if you're looking for a place to go birding right now, this is the place that I would suggest if you want to possibly add some new species to your list that you haven't seen yet. And if you're around, if you live in that area, your best bet on attracting these to your backyard is to have some kind of a feeder that has a lot of perching room. So if you have a feeder like this, which is called or a hanging tray, any kind of a tray feeder that has lots of open room, that's your best bet in attracting these birds. They eat sunflower seed, so black oil sunflower is great. Of course, sunflower hearts, safflower, striped sunflower. If you feed our chickadee blend or our cardinal blend, either one of those would be fantastic for these guys. So every once in a while, people do get them at their feeders, especially the evening grosbeaks, more so than, say, the pine grosbeaks. So the yellow ones there, the evening grosbeaks, they kind of look like a giant goldfinch with more of that thick beak like a cardinal. So if you guys have seen any, absolutely put it in the comments. I would love to know if any of you guys have gotten them. We've had several customers who have been getting them at their feeders, all sprinkled around the area. So not just in the Rochester area, further south of here as well. So a mix of different locations they've been seen in. And then here's that Bohemian Waxwing, which has also still been seen in the area in that same spot. So good luck if you are going out looking for it. They can it will sometimes be in a mixed flock with the Cedar Waxwing, which is this bird right here. And the difference between the two is the Bohemian Waxwing is going to be larger. It's also more overall gray in color compared to the Cedar Waxwing here. And it has these bright white patches on its wings. So be on the lookout for those as well, coming to any kind of vine or bush that has berries on it. So Bohemian Waxwing has still been seen in the area as well, as are some snow buntings. People are reporting a snow bunting here and there. So again, mostly by the lakeshore. So if you're out birding, keep an eye out for the snow buntings and the nuthatches. A lot of people get the red or the white-breasted nuthatches. The red-breasted nuthatches are also being seen in the area at people's feeders. Again, a bird a bit more common in the winter months, so keep an eye out for them. You guys are reporting tree sparrows. We'll see a photo of a tree sparrow later on that you guys have sent in. The fox sparrow, which is going to be more of a chubby, larger sparrow. Keep an eye out for them in your backyards, under your trees and shrubs and underneath your feeders. Same as the white-throated sparrow. We've talked about a bunch about them. The white-crowned sparrow. All birds that people are still reporting under their feeders. And of course, the dark-eyed juncos as well. Really cute winter bird that we've got here. And pine siskins are popping up as well. So if you've got a sunflower feeder or a Niger feeder, be on the lookout for pine siskins. They look like a goldfinch, but they have way more stripes on them. And they have a very sharp beak. So if you look at its bill there, you can see how it comes to a really sharp point. So that is your pine siskin. So be on the lookout for them too. They're going to look different than the house sparrow because they will have this yellow on their wing, which the female house finch, doesn't have. So if you've got house finches, you know that male has quite a bit of stripes on him and they're reddish in color, but the female doesn't have red. She's just all striped. The pine siskin will look different than her because the pine siskins will have this yellow. So that's one way you can tell the difference between those two. So as far as your sightings, there were some pretty neat things that you guys have reported. This first photo here of an American kestrel sent in by Bob, who's at a surprise visitor this weekend. And yeah, it is a bit of a surprise, being that the kestrel isn't super common in the fall and winter months. As we're getting into the cooler weather, they tend to go further south. So it's really neat that Bob had this visitor. And here's another photo of it as well. The American kestrel here sent in by Bob. What you're more likely to see this time of the year, which looks quite a bit like a kestrel, is going to be this bird here. This is called a merlin. So it does look really similar to the kestrel, except it has less coloration. At least the males will have less coloration than the male kestrel. And they're going to be kind of a stockier bird as well. So the merlin is going to be more common in the winter time. We'll have them here all winter long. And as far as your other photos sent in, Mark sent in a ton of photos here of his birding adventures around, so I'll share those with you as well. First, here is a red-bellied woodpecker, and this is a great photo because you can actually see the red belly on the woodpecker. If you look close enough, you can actually see it because they're clinging onto the side of a feeder or onto the side of a tree, so you can't really see their belly most of the time. But in this photo here, you can see that reddish colored patch that gives them their name. So that is a red-bellied woodpecker. Really neat photo there, sent in by Mark. A snow goose. So be on the lookout for snow geese. This one looks like it's mixed in with a bunch of Canada goose, and they're going to be a bird that you'll find here in the winter. So if you see an all-white goose, that is most likely going to be your snow goose. So Mark caught a photo of this one here at Kingsbend Park. And then here's a neat photo series here of American coots. This was at the Erie Canal Widewater. He says, I noticed the adult coot feeding the juvenile, and you can kind of see that here. They're bill to bill, and it looks like the adult there is feeding the juvenile. And coots are pretty interesting. They look like a duck when they're floating around, but they have really, really neat feet. And we'll see a photo of those feet. Mark sent in a photo of the coot's foot coming up as well, which is really, really fun. And here's a grebe. We talked on Tuesday about the different grebe species. Here's pied-billed grebe, which is going to be quite small. They have kind of a small, short, stocky head with a little bill that has a little stripe through it. And this is another bird that you'll see diving under the water, just like the long-tailed duck, just like the if you're going out birding and you see some what are called dabbling ducks, like a mallard, how they just tip over upside down and their butts stick up in the air. Those are called dabbling ducks, but birds like this pied-billed grebe or common grebe or, hooded merganser, common mergansers, not common grebe, common merganser, they're going to be diving ducks. They're going to dive under the water to get their meal. So if you see what looks like a little duck diving under the water, it's probably going to be a pied-billed grebe. And he sent this photo in here from Lock 32 out at the canal. Some herons, there's still some heron activity around, and he sent in these photos. It says 2 blue herons were putting on a show at Erie Canal Widewater. So a couple herons, it looks like, flying there together. Some really neat poses here. And then I can't tell if they're getting along or if they're fighting over territory here. Another photo here of the 2 herons putting on a show. And northern shoveler, this is another duck that you can find in the area, both here. If you go out to Montezuma, you'll probably see a lot of them. These are called northern shovelers, and the male looks almost like a mallard, but with a huge, huge bill. They've got a green head like a mallard does, but they have a really large, wide bill. And here on the left, you've got the female. She's more of a brownish color, and then the male is on the right there with the green head. And when they fly, they have really beautiful wings. Their wings have a bright blue patch on it, which is a little hard to tell. Here, you can kind of see it better on the male here on the top of the wing. It's got a blue patch. And then underneath, they have a green patch. So if you think of a duck like a blue-winged teal, when they fly, they've got that bright blue patch. The northern shovelers have that as well. So be on the lookout for northern shoveler. People are still reporting robins around. If they can find a lot of berries, they will stick around. So we might see them all winter long. So normally we consider them a sign of spring when we start to see them in the warmer weather, but you'll probably see some this winter as well if you're going out hiking, especially places that might have something like grapevine hanging around. It looks like this bird might be eating some grapes here. So American robin definitely around if they can find some berries to eat. Love this photo here of the great blue heron. Looks like it's got a lot of personality there. Its bill is wide open. It's looks like it might be hunting, going after something. This is another photo sent in by Mark at the Erie Canal Widewater. And then here are some more coots. He says, American coot at Erie Canal Widewater. Saw 4 of them on back-to-back days. I was trying to capture the feet of the coots. Didn't realize they had yellow and green on their legs and feet. So looks like one of them was out of the water, and you can almost start to see their foot here. So their foot looks almost like a leaf. If you think of a normal kind of webbed foot of a duck, they look the feet of the coot look very, very different. They almost look like the leaf of, say, a sassafras tree. So they have really, really interesting feet here, and you can see a bit of that in this capture that Mark sent in. So really cool photo. And then another snow goose. So be on the lookout for snow geese mixed in with the Canada goose, especially going out to say Montezuma. So that would be a good place to go to look for snow geese right now. And then we talked about some of the different sparrows that are around. Here's a tree sparrow. Here, this was sent in by Mark. Again, this was over at Mendon Ponds Park. And so you can find these guys a lot if you are doing birdsong trail and you're feeding birds out of your hand. Look for tree sparrows on the ground cleaning up all the debris. They won't really come to feed out of your hand, but you'll probably see them in the trees, in the shrubs and trees, and then going on the ground, cleaning up all of the shells and the leftover seeds from people who just discarded the stuff from their hands. So tree sparrows are definitely back. And this is going to be a bird that we have here this time of the year, but not so much in the summer months. And dark-eyed junco, common visitor to feeders this time of the year, and bluebirds. So people are still seeing bluebirds, just like the robin. They tend to go south for the winter, but if they've got reliable food sources, they can find berries. They might stay all winter long. So I know some of you guys have them in your yards all winter long, especially if you have a heated bird bath. They tend to like those. So you might just have bluebirds all winter long if you're lucky enough to have them in the spring and summer. And northern harrier. So a lot of you guys have been reporting birds of prey in the backyard, Cooper's hawks, sharp-shinned hawks. But if you go out birding anywhere where there's a marsh or open kind of grasslands, you might see some birds of prey flying low over fields. Most likely that is going to be a northern harrier. And northern harriers are what's called sexually dimorphic, where the females and males look different from each other. They both, however, have what's called a bright white rump patch. So that's this bright white patch on the bird that you can see just above its tail. Both male and female do have that. It's a very good identifying characteristic there. This is the female here. The female is brown. If you happen to catch a glimpse of her face, it's almost lined in white. It looks like, they call it an owl facial disc. It almost looks a bit owl-like in nature if you were able to catch a glimpse of their face head on. So here is the female, very brown in color, that white rump patch. And then this is the male, and the male is quite gray in color. And this is kind of their typical pose. They'll fly low over fields, usually looking down for some kind of a prey item. And long-tailed ducks. If you're out by the water, these were sent in by the Irondequoit Bay Pier and out by Lake Ontario. If you're by any large bodies of water like that, be on the lookout for these really cool ducks called long-tailed ducks. This is their home for the winter. This is south for them. And they are around in huge rafts. You can see them in the hundreds easily, big groups of them. And I love this photo here. This is another diving duck. They'll dive under the water to get their food. And here's a great photo of that happening with their tail feathers sticking, with its tail feathers sticking straight up in the air. And then here's a little raft of them as well. And depending on if they're juvenile or if they're male or female, they can look a little bit different. So here's some a raft here of all long-tailed ducks. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can absolutely put those in the comments, or any kind of comments at all. Randy Zani says, good morning, Liz and every birdie. Bob is on, who sent in those photos of the American kestrel. He said, have had quite a few bluebirds around. It appears there are a few roosting in the nest box. Not sure how many, but it looks to be at least a male and female. So Mark had sent in a photo there of the bluebird that he was still seeing. And it sounds like Bob has them around his yard as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they stick around and if that same couple ends up maybe using that nest box in the spring to raise their young. And then Bob also says quite a variety of birds drinking from the heated bird bath, including a gray squirrel. So he's been getting some good activity there at the heated bird bath. It's definitely heated bird bath season. And I know a lot of you guys are asking questions about heated bird baths. We have a whole bunch here at the store. We can help you answer your questions and show you all the different types we have. And Ed is on. He says, wow, what an exceptional diversity in Mark J's photos. Great captures. Thanks for sharing. Yes, thank you guys for sending in your photos. Oh, Lynn is on here as well. She says, good morning. Great photos today. My purple finch and red-breasted nuthatch are staying. Lynn not only is getting the red-breasted nuthatch, but a purple finch as well, both of which are birds more common in the winter than they would be, say, in the spring and summer months at your feeder. So really cool sightings there by Lynn. So be on the lookout if you see something that looks like a house finch. It's kind of reddish, but it looks more purple in color, and it's a little bit larger than your typical house finch. You could very well have what's called a purple finch, just like Lynn. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back on Tuesday with another broadcast. If you have some time, we appreciate your business on Small Business Saturday, which is today, and we have all kinds of food out here for you guys to enjoy. We've got some specials, and we have our jigsaw puzzle swap, which will go on until noon. So hope to see you, and guys, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.